Hello guys, welcome to another interesting video in the series of coding. Today we are going to do the problem number of matching subsequences. You are given a string S and an array of string words. You have to return the number of words that is subsequence of S. What exactly is a subsequence? Let us try to understand that. Here you are given that ACE is a subsequence of A, B, C, D. Why? First A occurs here, right? So first A. Here also you can see that A is occurring. Next C occurs. So here also you can see that C is occurring. Next E occurs. Here also you can see that E is occurring, right? So you are actually having AC and you are having AC in order. So let me see that. So A, C, E is occurring in order. E is occurring after C and C is occurring after A. So here you can see first A, then C, then E. Here also A, C, E in order. So the order is very important. So here if you had some example like AEC, that will not be a subsequence, or you had something like A, D, B, that will not be a subsequence, right? So ACE is a subsequence. For this string, other subsequences will be something like BCD or BCE, something like these will be subsequences because it is occurring in order. So let's try to take example to understand. We'll discuss the brute force approach first. So what will be the brute force approach? Suppose finding each character by character, right? So you will have a small pointer for each word in words, and you will have a big pointer for each character in string S. So first A is occurring, so you will mark that. Next you have to find C, so you will increase the small pointer till you find C. You will keep on increasing the big pointer. Once you found C, what you will do, you will try to find the next character, which is A. So next character, which is C, sorry, so it should be C. So next character is C. So you will try to find C. So you will keep on increasing the big pointer till you find C. Next you will try to find A. So again you will increase the big pointer and you found A. So you found all the four characters. So what you did, you kept on increasing the big pointer till you found elements in the small pointer, right? So that is a simple approach. So let's understand this with the help of this one more example, and then we'll move forward to building another logic. So suppose you have C, D, A, A. So let's use the brute force approach first to understand this. So you will have a small pointer and a big pointer. So currently big pointer is A, but what do we need? We need C. So we will move the big pointer till when? Till we find C. So we found C. Okay. Now we will move the small pointer to find what? To find D. So we will move on the big pointer till we find D. We found D. Now what? We have to find A. So we will keep on increasing the big pointer to find A. We found A. Now what we will do? We have to find the next element A. But we have reached the end here. We cannot find this element A, right? So this is not a subsequence. So this is the brute force approach. But what is the problem in brute force approach? Let's try to discuss that. So the brute force approach will pose a lot of problems, and that is the time limit problem. Let's take a simple example. Suppose your S is something like A, okay, some very big string, and in the end you have B. And suppose in the words you have something like AB, right? So what you will do in the brute force approach, you will have a small pointer for A and you will have a big pointer for A. You have found A, very good. Now you have to find B. So what you will do, you will keep on incrementing the big pointer to find B. To find this particular B, you had to waste a lot of elements. You had to waste till you iterated over all these elements and you wasted a lot of time. So this will give you time limit error. Some cases like this where you have very big string, right? And you have some characters which are at last or something, it will give you time limit error. So brute force approach is having problem. How can we solve this? So think of this logic. You wasted a lot of time finding the position of B, but you had no other option because you didn't store the position of B. If you had stored the position of B, you need not waste time iterating for the position of B, right? So that is a simple intuition or logic. So if you could only if you had stored the position, how can you store the positions? So you can store the occurrences in some data structure. So we can use map for this, so that we can store the occurrences one by one in this particular data structure. So let's do one thing. Let us solve the problem using map, and let me erase all this, and we will use the previous example itself, and we will solve this problem of time limit exceeded, so that we have a better time complexity of our solution. So let me erase all this and let us go back to this example. Now in this case, let's see what will be the algorithm exactly. So let's start. So in this particular string, I am going to store all the characters in the map and corresponding occurrences. So first we have A at position 0, so I have stored that, right? Next we have B at position 1, so I will store that. Next we have C at position 2, I will store that. Next we have A at position 3. Next we have C at position 4. Next we have A at position 5. Next we have D at position 6. So next we have B at position 7, so I will store that. Next we have B at position 8. Next we have A at position 9. So you see in the map, this is my map, I have stored the occurrences. So what have I done? I have stored the character as the first parameter, and in the second parameter I have stored all the occurrences, all the positions, so that I need not waste time over iterating over these positions. So let me do one thing. Let me erase these cross marks and let's try to take our example to understand better. So we are going to take this first word ACCA, right? So what you are going to do, you have to look for A, then C, then C, then A. Let's see if we are able to find. So first we have to look for A. So we will see in the map A is at position number 0, right? We have found it. So we can check that we have found it. Next we have to find C. How can we find C? We will check the position. C is at position 2. Very good. We have found it. Next we will check for C. So we have to check the next occurrence. So it is at 4. So we will store it. So let me do one thing. Let me zoom it out a little bit so that entire screen is visible to you. Next we have to find A. So what you do? You see that A is occurring at position 3. But do you take that? No, you will not take this. You have to take after position 4 only. Why? See, what is your current ACCA? First A, then C, then C. So you have to find it in order or in sequence. So you have to take only after this variable C. You cannot take previous instances, right? You cannot take this A. You have to take this A only. So I hope that it is giving a little bit clarity. So you have to take positions after the current position. Current position is at position 4, right? You have to check here only. You cannot check backwards, right? Because it has to be in order. So you have to take this particular A. So you will take the position 5. So we have found that all of them are having occurrences. So we will say that it is a subsequence. Now we will take one more example to understand this better, and then we will build a logic. So let me just erase all this, and let me erase all this, and let me erase this blue colored markers here also, so that it is not confusing for us. Okay, now let's take the next example. Next example, you have CDAA. So let me write that out. CDAA. What you will do, you will find the first occurrence of C. It is at position 2. Right? So we have found it. Great. Next, we will try to find the occurrence of D. So D is at position 6. Okay. Now you have to find A. Which occurrence will you take? Right. So first you found C, then you found D. You have to take only after D, right? You cannot take all these A's. These A's will not give you subsequence. It has to be in order. Only after this particular D, right? So 0 is not allowed, 3 is not allowed, 5 is not allowed, 9 is allowed because 9 is greater than 6. So remember this, you have to keep a note of the previous index and you have to take only after that. So 9 is found, right? Next, you will try to find the next A, but you cannot use A at 0, 3, 5 or 9. You have already used 9 and 0, 3, 5 is not valid because it is coming previously. It should come after 9, but you cannot find any such occurrence for A, right? You cannot find any such occurrence for A. So what will you do? You will say that this is not a subsequence. So this is not a subsequence because you could find C, D, A, but you could not find another character here which was A. So let's start coding this actually, then I think it will be clearer. So let me just zoom this a little bit and let us start coding it. So we have to first of all declare a map. So map, and it is going to be having character as a first parameter, and then it is going to have vector int to store all the occurrences, and that is let me just call it M. Now I'm going to iterate over all the characters in X, and I'm going to store the value in map. So M of X is what? X is your character. Corresponding to character, what do you have? You have vector. So you get the vector by doing M of X. You're going to push back. What you're going to push back? The index. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give int I equal to 0 and I'm going to push back this particular index. So once I have mapped all the character with all the occurrences, now I can start iterating over. So I will do int I equal to 0, I less than words dot size, I plus plus. Now I'm going to iterate over each of this. So for iterating over, I will first of all store each word. So I can give string current and that is going to give me the current word. Now I have to iterate over each of the character in this current word. So j equal to 0, j less than current dot size, j plus plus. Now what do I have to do? I have to keep a count of the previous value, right? Because after that previous index only I should take the current indexes. It has to be in order. So let me call it something like latest. So let me initially give it -1 because we are going to start after -1. We are going to start at 0. But latest will keep on changing. So what can we do? We have to first of all find if the character is found in the map or not. So auto it. So it is the iterator and I am going to give upper bound function for that. So upper bound will give me the character, the occurrence, reference to that occurrence, right, after the particular value, which value latest. So let me declare the upper bound. So m is the map. In the map you have to give the character. So what is the character? Current j. Current is going to give you the particular string. J is going to give you the particular index. So current of j is going to give you the character. M of current of j is going to give you the vector, because current of j is the key in the map. What is the key? Character. What is the value? Value is going to give you a vector. We have stored a character corresponding to vector. Now in this you are going to have to do this begin and you have to do end. So let me store that here. So we are going to start from beginning and we are going to iterate till the end. And what we are going to do, we are going to search for the values after this latest value. So that's why I've given a upper bound. There's also a lower bound function. You can check that. That will give the values less than this latest. But here we want the values after the latest. So we have used the upper bound. Now what we are going to do, we are going to simply check this value is there, is present or not. So how can we check that? If the iterator has reached the end, that means the value is not there. So if m of current of j, which is the vector, so if it has reached the end of the vector, then you can simply say that the value is not there and break. Okay, if it has not reached the end, the value will be there. In that case, what you have to do, you have to change the latest position, right? How can you change the latest position? To what will you change? You will change it to it. No, wrong. It is going to give you the reference, right? So to get the value, what you have to do? You have to give a star. So star of it will give you the value in integer type, the position. If you simply give it, it will give you the address. You don't want the address, you want the position in integer. Now what is the last condition? You have to check and count, right? If you have found the correct value, you have to check and count. So how can you do that? So if j is equal to current dot size -1, then you can simply increment your count variable and you can return this count at last. So int count is equal to 0 and let us do one thing. Let us check where this for loop is ending. So it is ending here and you can return count here. So I hope that this will work. Let me run and see if it is working. So it is fine. Let me just submit and see if it is accepted. So it's accepted. Thank you for being patient and listening.